Here's my predictions, my comprehensive list, full predictions for the standings in the American League East. Nope, not the American League East. Full predictions for the standings in the American League Central Division in 2023. Okay? Coming in at number 5. This really shouldn't surprise anybody. We're not going to spend too much time talking about it. But the Detroit Tigers come in at number 5. I have them at 65 and 97. I don't think the Tigers are going to be very competitive this year. That being said, man, that doesn't mean they're going to be historically bad and have no future, right? I mean, they have a ton of prospects. They got a lot of bright spots to look forward to. Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Casey Mize. There's guys around that franchise and in that organization that are going to be big league contributors at one point or another. But ultimately, they're still at the bottom end of that arc of rebuild, right? They're on their way back up, I think, but ultimately they're not going to be that competitive. And 65 and 97 is I think right where they're going to end up finishing. So I got the Tigers in 5th at 65 and 97. In 4th place in the American League Central, Kansas City Royals. Okay, I have them jumping at a pretty high clip as far as the record goes, coming in at 78 and 84. 78 and 84 for them is still a few games under 500. Okay, but when you look at the roster for the Royals, first of all, they can throw it a little bit. Rotation options like Brady Singer, potential big league all-star caliber arm. Zach Greinke, obviously we know what he can do on the mound. Scott Barlow last year, that guy just messed around and had like a sub-2 ERA. Okay? You go through the offensive options for the Kansas City Royals. Sal Perez, top 3 hitting catcher in all of baseball. MJ Melendez can back up and just catch whenever Sal needs a day off. And in the meantime, MJ Melendez is going to play the outfield. The guy smacks the ball around the yard like it's easy. Vinny Pasquantino, I love this prospect guy that they have as an option at first base. Left-handed, big boy, power hitter, knows how to hit a ball really, really hard. Bobby Witt, going to be playing middle infield for these guys at one point or another. Guess what? Second fastest sprint time in all of Major League Baseball. Huge contact guy. Also has a ton of pop that nobody really talks about. And he's going to end up being, I think, one of those guys that just, in a couple of years from now, it's like, oh, every year, guess who's starting at shortstop in the All-Star game in the American League? Bobby Witt Jr. Shocker. Nicky Lopez, also another infield option for these guys. Left-handed, scrappy, contact, low strikeout guy, really valuable for them, and also going to find himself at the top of the order. Okay? Prospect, center fielder, Drew Waters. They got him from Atlanta when they made that trade for Jorge Soler. Drew Waters has been nothing but a highly touted prospect his entire career, and now he's going to be manning the outfield for those guys at one point or another. Hunter Dozier, power bat. Matt Beatty, bench option. Kyle Isbell, he'll mess around and play a little bit outfield for these guys. I think the Royals, with that young core, led by a more of a veteran presence and a guy like Salvador Perez, I don't see any reason why these guys shouldn't make a pretty big jump. Does that mean they're going to get above 500? No. Does that mean they're going to make the playoffs? No. But that means the Kansas City Royals are going to be in 4th place. They're going to win 78 games. And you're going to see a lot of bright stars shining throughout Kansas City. You're going to see Brady Singer. You're going to see Bobby Witt Jr. You're going to see Pasquantino, MJ Melendez. All these guys are at their ceilings all-star caliber players, and I think they're going to get flashes of that this year and see exactly what the Kansas City Royals are all about. In 3rd place in the American League Central, I got the Chicago White Sox. One game better than the Kansas City Royals. Okay? The White Sox are that team every year. They seem to assemble what looks to be on paper a really competitive roster. Tons of talent. Up and down, throughout the rotation, throughout the bullpen, up and down the lineup. And then the season starts and they stink. And I don't think much of that's going to change this year. I think one of the bigger losses that they lost this year are not going to have, at least for an extended amount of time, is Liam Hendricks. Liam Hendricks, losing him is going to be tough. They have a couple of other decent bullpen arms. They got some guys in the lineup, obviously, Moncada, Tim Anderson, but they lose Jose Abreu, who was probably their leader, and offensively, the guy that drove in the most runs for them. I like Dylan Cease. I like Kopech, but Clevenger stinks. Lance Lynn is iffy. Giolito's trying to come back off a bad year. And yeah, I don't like the Sox very much this year. And I got them under 500 at 79 and 80. In second place in the American League Central, got the Cleveland Guardians. Okay, 87 and 75. I don't know for sure if 87 wins is going to get a team into the postseason this year, but it's very likely that it'll at least be within 2 or 3 games. Okay, the Guardians are going to be above 500. The Guardians are going to be competitive, and the Guardians are going to win games. Does 87 get you into the postseason? Maybe. And I wouldn't count that out. Okay, I wouldn't count that out. But ultimately, I think the Twins this year are just a little bit better than the Guardians, obviously. So I have the Guardians coming in at second place at 87-75. And of course, like I just said, rounding out the American League Central is the Minnesota Twins, one game better than the Cleveland Guardians at 88-74. I think it's going to be a tight division. I think it's going to be a close division. I think it's going to be a battle up until the end. And I think there's going to be some teams around here that are going to be decent. But none of them, I don't think, in the American League Central are going to compete for a World Series. I think whoever gets into the whoever wins this division and gets into the postseason ultimately probably gets bounced in the first round, especially if they got to come across a team like the Astros or a team like the Yankees, or honestly the Blue Jays in some cases. So that's my final standings for the American League Central. To recap, Tigers in 5th, Royals in 4th, White Sox in 3rd, Guardians in 2nd, and the Twins in 1st. Guardians and Twins separated by 1 game.